everybody, and welcome once again to Real Shame, a show where the two of us talk about our list of movie. Us two, we talk about our list of movie blind spots, also known as our list of shame. My name is Andy,
and I'm Adam.
And this week we're gonna do a couple of movies. This one, today's movie I haven't seen. The one we're gonna do on Wednesday, I have seen, but
I thought you hadn't seen it.
Yeah, I have seen it, but I watched it again because that's what we do. But before we get into today's episode, today's movie, we always like to start off Monday's episode with what we've been watching lately. So, Adam, what have you been watching lately?
I've had kind of a Marvel week, I feel like, or Marvel month. So I'm going to talk about two Marvel things I've been watching. The first is the season of Loki. The first season of Loki has wrapped. And I know it's something you haven't watched yet, that you're waiting to watch them all in one go.
Yes.
So I will say I like this one a lot. I don't know if I like it the best of the three we've had so far. So we've had WandaVision, we've had Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and we had Loki. I really like Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I feel like that one's kind of not critically well received because it plays more straight than Loki and WandaVision does, but I like it. It's me. I like it, and I'm allowed to like it, and you're allowed to like it if you like it, and you're allowed not to like it if you like it.
You can like whatever you want, people. You can like whatever you want.
You can like whatever you want. I like Loki better than I like WandaVision. I just feel like WandaVision just falls apart. In the last episode, we did a viewer's question on that where I kind of ran in and raved.
You did. Yeah. I was like, okay.
So you can check that one out. I don't know if that's very good content, but it's out there. So I'd say Loki. I like Loki. Loki's good. There's some surprising things in it. For me, about the first half of it, I was like, I don't know if I like this. Like, I see that people like it, but I'm kind of like, it's okay. And then right at that midway point, I was like, yeah, I like this show. And so I will recommend checking out Loki if you're a Disney Plus subscriber. I mean, we're getting all this great Marvel content. So, I mean, it's a wealth of riches for us at this point, I feel like, because I like all that stuff. The other thing we watched together was the new Marvel movie that came out to theaters and Disney Plus Premiere, or wherever they call it. And that was Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff's movie that just took forever to come to be, right?
Yeah.
Long
gestated. Supposed to come out last year.
Thanks,
COVID.
Yeah. This was supposed to come out last year. They've been talking about doing a Black Widow movie for ages and stuff like that. And we finally got to see what it was. I like this movie a lot. There's parts of it I need to rewatch again, mostly around the action stuff that I think is interesting. I probably put it middle tier Marvel for me. Just of all the movies that I've seen, I think it's average and stuff like that. I was listening to one of the film podcasts I listened to, the now called the Film Podcast. They were talking about it, and I think they hit the nail on the head, which this movie probably should have came out like right after Endgame, they should have came out right at Infinity War, either before or after it, and before Endgame. I think what happens in Endgame would have hit a lot harder if we would have seen this movie leading up to it. Mm-hmm. But that's just the way the cookie crumbles. So I like Black Widow, and I can't wait till I revisit it. I end up watching these Marvel movies a handful of times because I'm weird like that. So I know that's something you've been watching. So let me toss it over to you. What have you been watching, and did you like Black Widow?
I like Black Widow. I saw the preview. I thought it looked stupid.
Yeah.
So I had pretty bottom of the barrel expectations, but overall I was pleasantly surprised. I thought it was pretty entertaining. I didn't have a lot of huge problems with it. So yeah, I liked it as well. I will watch it again at some point as well. I watched, in addition to that, two movies that are, one was on HBO Max. It's gone now. But it's the musical In the Heights.
I missed it.
In the Heights. I think I watched it on like the last day that it was available. It's leaving today. I was like, oh, I better get on this.
You like started at like 9:30, hoping to finish it before like midnight when they're like,
so it's Lin-Manuel Miranda, I
Yep.
think, wrote the music and stuff.
Yep.
There were other people involved with it, but I know he was involved with it. I still have yet to see Hamilton.
That's on Disney Plus.
I know. I intended to watch. So last week I mentioned that I watched John Adams. I kind of wanted to watch John Adams and Hamilton because they're both kind of July 4th-ish, whatever, founding fathers kind of thing. But I just didn't get around to Hamilton once I finished John Adams, because John Adams is 7 hours long or whatever. But I am going to watch Hamilton. I am. I know I'm like late to the party by like 10 years or however long it's been. It's been out for a while. But In the Heights, I thought was okay. Again, some of the songs I really like. Some of the songs I'm like, come on. It's pretty long. I mean, it's like 2 hours and 20 minutes or something like that. And I felt the length. Overall, though, it's a decent film.
Yeah.
Didn't blow my mind, but I didn't hate it. I thought it was pretty good for what it is. I know there are people out there that gush over it and are gonna love it and stuff like that. You know who you are. But again, I mean, I would give it a mild recommendation.
Yeah.
I'd say overall, but it's probably not a movie that I'm gonna revisit again anytime soon. I thought it was decent enough for what it was. The other movie that I watched. So last week I mentioned that I watched Space Jam in preparation for the new Space Jam. I watched the new Space Jam.
Did you really?
I did.
I didn't know that.
I watched it in the wee hours early this morning because as we're filming this, it just came out today. I watched it. I watched Space Jam and I followed it up with Space Jam. What's it called? A New Legacy.
Was
what it's called.
Was it A New Legacy?
All right. So I actually I liked it.
Really?
Rotten Tomatoes, it's currently rotten.
Yeah, I heard not great things about it.
Well, I do have some problems with it.
Okay.
But I think overall, I don't think the original is some amazing classic like some people. So I feel like some of these people that are bashing it and saying this sucks have super, super fond memories of the original. And again, as I mentioned last week, I saw the original as an adult. I didn't even see the ending in the theater because the last reel of the film broke. And I mean, it was okay to me. I think it is a fun, kind of nostalgic 90s movie, but it's not a movie that I put up on a pedestal. So the fact that they were coming out with a new Space Jam, I wasn't like, oh, how dare they? I was like, okay, cool. LeBron, Michael Jordan was the best in the game back then. I'd say LeBron is the best in the game, or at least has been. He may be on the decline now in his latter career, but he's been the best in basketball for quite a while now. So I think it's a logical choice to put him in this kind of movie. He is a better actor than Michael Jordan. He has better kind of comedic timing.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan's very wooden. I don't care if you love Space Jam. Michael Jordan is not a great actor. I mean, he's not supposed to be, right? Neither is Charles Barkley or any of those other guys that are in the original film. But LeBron is better actor. Again, I don't, because it just came out, I'm not going to spoil anything, and so I'm not going to say the problems that I had with it. I will say, though, that they milk the fact that it's a Warner Brothers movie like crazy. I mean, but I think that's part of the fun. There's a lot of Warner Brothers stuff in the movie. Matrix, Game of Thrones, Iron Giant, King Kong.
You've seen the trailer.
Yes, all that kind of stuff is in the movie. And part of the fun is when they're playing the basketball game, spotting all the people in the crowd. I think it was fun. Other people might be cranky about it.
So I'll say sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
The two criticisms I've heard off the top of my head is that one is that it's just like a way of Warner Brothers just flashing their IP on there.
It's a shameless plug.
And the other thing I heard is people don't really like the interplay between LeBron and Bugs. Like, feels like Bugs is kind of using LeBron a little bit and all that kind of stuff. So
I think people take it way too seriously.
Those are the two criticisms I heard.
I think people are taking it way too seriously. I have other problems with it that aren't either one of those. Yes, Warner Brothers is plugging the crap out of their own stuff. But again, I thought that was kind of fun. It's kind of fun seeing the Wicked Witch of the West like cheering on the team, or the Mask, or whatever. I mean, because you see all those people in the crowd. And like you said, Iron Giant, King Kong, all those kind of people, the Jetsons, whatever. There's tons of things
it's like Ready Player
in
One,
the crowd. It's fun just to kind of spot it all. But I also, again, don't hold the first movie on a very high pedestal. So I was kind of easy to please with this one. I think the first one is maybe better than this one. It probably is better, but I didn't think this one was bad. I wouldn't give it thumbs down or a really, really low score or anything like that. I thought it was okay for what it was. So that's what I've been watching.
Great.
Yes. So let's get into today's movie.
Today's movie
that I have not seen.
It's going to be 2018's Bumblebee. All right, I'm pulling this one from IMDb. So in the year 1987, Bumblebee finds refuge in a junkyard in a small California beach town. and on the cusp of turning 18, although she turns 18 in the movie, and trying to find her place in the world, Charlie Watson discovers Bumblebee, battle scarred and broken, and that's Bumblebee. So we're starting out on the 6th movie of the Transformers universe, Transformer film series. This is the first film not directed, first live action Transformers film not directed by Michael Bay. This is actually directed by Travis Knight. It's written by Christina Hodson. It's one of her first writing debuts. And Travis Knight, this is his first live action directorial debut. His first directorial debut is a movie that you haven't seen that I like a lot, called Kubo and the Two Strings, which is a Laika movie. Laika is a movie studio that his dad bought, Phil Knight, who you might know
sounds like he had a rough childhood.
Who you might know from Nike. And now Travis Knight is now the current president and CEO of Laika, and he's also serving on the board of directors of his dad's company, Nike Inc. So
must be nice.
I say that, and you can take that in a bad way, but I will spoil it. I think he does a great job directing both these movies, and I find it really surprising that someone that is affluent like that can do something like that. Maybe I'm wrong for believing that, but I find that it's really surprising. The other interesting thing I found on his IMDb is that Knight began his career as a rapper under the name Chili T. So we have Chili T on this. This movie, like I said, is 6th of the Transformers series. It stars Hailey Steinfeld as Charlie Watson. It has George Lindenberg Jr. as Memo, John Cena as Agent Burns. I don't know what this means, but he does that a lot. And
can't see him.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, you can't see me.
So I kind of spoiled where I fall on Bumblebee, but this is a movie you haven't seen before. So what'd you? Okay, here's I got a couple questions for you. One, did you grow up with the Transformers? Were they like any part of your childhood? 2, what Transformer movies have you seen? And 3, what'd you think of Bumblebee?
Okay, we may not be friends after this review. So no, it's first before I answer any of those questions, I have to say something about Travis Knight. I watched the movie and then I looked up because I knew it wasn't Michael Bay, and I was like, let me see who this Travis Knight guy is. And you're right, I haven't seen Kubo on the Two Strings, but I was reading his like entry in Wikipedia, and it was like his dad is Phil Knight, and I was like, wait a minute, Phil Knight, the Nike guy, and then it's like I did read that he was like a rapper, and it said he wrote his songs in his family's mansion, and then he like went to his family's penthouse to like record, and I was like, geez, this guy had it so rough growing up. But you're right, we shouldn't hate on him just because he comes from a rich family. Because I do think I haven't seen Kubo on the Two Strings. I didn't have a problem with the direction of Bumblebee. I think I had a problem with a lot of other stuff in it. But Transformers. So to answer your questions, Transformers is I was a child in the '80s. And the Transformers were in the mid-'80s, but I did not really watch the cartoon. I think I might have owned like 1 or 2 Transformers toys. I was more a G.I. Joe guy. Okay. I had like tons of G.I. Joe and Star Wars stuff. I did not have but like 1 or 2 Transformers, and I don't even remember which. They were like the crappy Transformers. I didn't have Optimus Prime or any of the really cool ones.
The B or C string.
I had the one that like I think he went into like a jam box.
That's a bad guy. This is Decepticon, right?
I think so.
Is that?
I don't know.
Isn't that?
Mega box. I don't know. Boom box.
His name will come to me.
Idea.
His name will come to me. Okay, go on.
I think I had that one and like one other one, but yeah, I just was never that big of a Transformers fan. Still not. So This movie, oh man.
Soundwave is the name. Soundwave.
Okay, Soundwave. I
Pretty sure.
had Soundwave. I feel like you asked me another question that I probably didn't answer.
No, that's what Transformer movies have you seen?
Oh, well now I've seen all of them.
Oh, spoiler.
Oh, yeah. But going into this, before I saw Bumblebee, the only movie that I had seen prior to Bumblebee was the first Transformers, which the spoiler we're going to talk about on Wednesday.
We're full of spoilers today.
I'm throwing it out there. Well, we got to. So this movie, I knew that it was much more critically acclaimed than the other Transformers movies. So I had high hopes for this film, and maybe they were just too high. Because ultimately, I didn't really like Bumblebee. Quite honestly, Bumblebee, it was for a combination of reasons, and I feel like I'm a bad guy, or I feel like I'm the bad guy in this episode because I feel like I'm cranky old man, like get off my lawn type guy. Because I kind of felt the same way about. I've only seen the first season of Stranger Things. Mm-hmm. And I've seen a couple of other movies that take place in the 80s, and they tend to irritate me more than anything else. It's not just because of anachronisms. It's not just because
I think it's more about the music.
It's not. It's not just about the music. Although, yes, I did. My first note here is the amount of needle drops in the first 15 minutes. Hey, gang, it's the 80s. Because they definitely, once they get to Haley Steinfeld's character, because you mentioned needle drops in movies a lot.
I know, and I was thinking about that while I was watching this, and I'm like, it doesn't bother me in this movie.
Well, okay, but I'm just saying, but you can see how it would bother me. It bothers you in some movies. It bothered me in this movie.
I don't begrudge you on that for sure.
But it's not just the music. It's that it feels so forced to me that this is the 80s, that they kind of beat you over the head. I felt the same way about the first season of Stranger Things. Again, I haven't watched the rest of Stranger Things. And at some point, I need to revisit Stranger Things and watch the rest of the seasons and not be such a grumpy old man who's like, get off my lawn. But maybe it's because I grew up in the 80s. But I tend to watch these movies that take place in the 80s, and I don't know why, but I do know why, but I just don't like them. But this movie, it's not just the forcefulness of like, hey, it's the 80s. Let's talk about Alf, and let's do this. Hey, now we're watching Alf, and blah blah blah, or the music or whatever. I also just felt like this story was kind of flimsy, and I could not take John Cena seriously at all. Yeah. I think he is miscast, quite honestly. He's supposed to be kind of villainous.
You wish you didn't see John Cena?
I guess so. He's supposed to be kind of villainous, but John Cena, as a wrestler or in anything else that I've seen, and granted I haven't seen, he's in Fast 9, I know. I haven't seen that. Yeah. But in everything that I've seen him, he's just such a lovable guy, and how he's portrayed. Kind of like The Rock, it's hard to see The Rock as like just an out and out bad guy. Yeah. In The Rundown or something like that, he might play a guy who's not, like you said, he's not a good guy necessarily, but he's not a bad guy. But at the same time, but I just could not take John Cena seriously. The movie, I couldn't tell. It seemed very tongue-in-cheek to me, and maybe that was intentional. It seemed very kind of silly, particularly his lines, Glenn Turman's lines, the other guy, the scientist guy, and also the fact that, and I know it's a comic, or not a comic book movie, I know it's like a toy movie, and you're not really supposed to take any of these Transformers movies that literally or that seriously, but the Decepticons come and they're like, hey, let us use like all your shit, like let us use all your technology or whatever, and they're like, okay. And they just like, and I was like, what? Like, that was really easy.
Well, I will push back a little bit, because also in the Transformers movies, they do the same thing. And at least in this movie, John Cena goes, their name's Decepticon. Like, should we be trusting these guys?
Yeah, there's one line, right?
But we don't get any of that in Transformers 2007.
And but in I see, and because now that I've seen all the other Transformers movies, they all kind of run together, so I may be getting the details wrong. But it seems like in the other Transformers movies, they do also think that they're bad, but because they're fighting the Megatron and stuff, then Josh Duhamel and those guys are like, oh, we should fight with these guys. But they're not exactly. They don't start working with them until after they've kind of fought with them first and they know they're on the side of good, and then they're like, okay, now we'll form the Nest team and we'll do whatever. But I don't
the Nest
really
team
remember
comes later on. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think did I spit on you? I'm not sure.
No. My nose is. My nose.
He's giving me a headache with this shit.
I got migraine.
No, but yeah. So it wasn't. I mean, and yes, there are some anachronisms in this film. There's anachronisms in every.
Her
movie,
ending song is anachronism. Andy,
piece.
Did that bother you?
Song over the credits?
Yeah,
that doesn't count. That's not diegetic or whatever.
Yeah.
That doesn't count. Songs over the end credits don't count.
Dianetics?
No, she's such a Smiths fan. She owns an album of the Smiths that hasn't even come out in the year 1987. I'll say that.
She's fancy.
She got an advance copy from Morrissey himself.
That was gonna be
Johnny Marr.
That was gonna be my question to you. Was how does the music sit?
The music, for the most part, I don't think they play any songs besides. They play "It Takes Two" by Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock. That didn't come out in 1987. It came out in 1988. And they play. And I didn't know this. I saw this in the IMDb. I did recognize the Rob Bass song had not come out. But it was only when I looked at the trivia. Apparently, that Rick Astley song came out later. It came out in the UK, I think, in '87, but it didn't come out in the US.
Well, the movie
88.
says it starts in '87, but then there's like time break between the first scene and then when she finds the car. So maybe that could have been a year.
I guess. But I didn't have a problem with the Rick Astley song, honestly, because I didn't even know that it didn't come out in 1987. Somebody in the IMDb trivia said none of the goofs should be regarded as goofs because this is an alternate universe. They were mad, You could tell that by the tone they were mad, but most people found that unhelpful, including myself.
I was like,
you can say that about every movie.
There's one IMDb reviewer that I'm mad at right now.
But I thought overall the movie was too silly. I didn't really like the plot. I could not take John Cena seriously. There are some positives to this. I didn't have a problem, like with Travis Knight's direction. Again, I had a problem more with the story and some of the other aspects of how the movie came together. I thought Haley Steinfeld was great. I think she is great. She plays her role well. My dad is dead or whatever. Didn't really pull at my heartstrings. Neither did her dive there at the end. She finally dives. I knew, when he's watching The Breakfast Club that at some point he's going to do the Judd Nelson thing and all that stuff. And maybe I shouldn't be cranky about that, but I was like, okay, when's he going to do that at some point in the movie? I did also like Angela Bassett. I thought she played a good kind of villain. She did good voice work. I think Justin Theroux is the other guy. I didn't even notice
I don't remember,
his performance really, but I thought Angela Bassett was good. I did think it was funny that they were wrapping the house. I haven't thought about...
Yeah, TPing a house.
Yes. Some people call it papering or toilet papering. We called it wrapping when I was growing up. TPing. Which sounds funny because it sounds like we're wrapping. But we were wrapping houses. They also bust out the eggs. They didn't bust out the biscuit dough.
I've never done that.
I would have thought it was funny if they would have put dog shit on the porch and set it on fire.
Or did you ever put the plastic forks in the lawn?
No.
Oh, those are.
What did you call that? Forking?
No, I don't think we called it
their lawn.
We just talked about.
I've never heard of that.
I never did that.
Yeah. I also did not. I wish, and again, I know a lot of people say when you review a movie, don't talk about what you wish would have happened. Talk about what's there. I do that too, and I think it's unrealistic not to go. No, I would have done this. I didn't like the relationship between her and I didn't even know his name was Memo. I never could understand what they were saying in the movie. I was like, are they calling him Memo or Minnow or what? Guillermo, but they call him Memo for short. So he did not know her because at the beginning of the film, she's working at the hot dog on a stick stand, and he's like, you don't really know me. She's like, I gotta go, and she runs the lemonade into the guy. Then later on, he just walks into her garage to ask her out, which I was like, who would do that?
It's a little weird.
If I wish that they were best friends, but she had friend zoned him, but he was secretly in love with her. I wish that's how their relationship would have been. And then, because it would have been much more believable to me. To me, some strange rando guy walks into her garage and happens to see Bumblebee. So from then on, they're like buddies. In the very next scene, they're going out the sunroof or sharing a moment, which seemed way too soon for me. Based on their relationship.
I know I get critical of people that do this, so I will say that. But he lives down the street from her.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that they probably went to school together and they probably know of each other.
Yeah.
So they're not complete strangers.
Right.
But I will say that it was a little weird.
Yeah.
Sure.
I was just like, this guy just walks
It was
into
87. It was a different
garage.
time, man.
I guess so. The final thing that I will say, I've got some other things written down, but I think I covered most of them. The final thing I would say, I did like the fact that they played the song "The Touch," which is from the original Transformers.
Touch.
Yeah, by Stan Bush from the original Transformers animated movie, or Boogie Nights, because Mark Wahlberg sings it. Yeah, but yeah, I really.
And Mark Wahlberg makes an appearance in the last 2 Transformer movies.
He does.
Full circle.
He does. But yeah, I wanted to like this movie, but I was very irritated by this film.
All right.
And I really did not like it overall, and I realize I'm very much in the minority. It was mercifully short though compared to every other Transformers film, so it's got that going for it. It's less than 2 hours.
All right.
Yeah. I guess before you say your closing thoughts, I will say.
Well, I didn't even get to say any thoughts.
I'm sorry.
It's fun.
Go ahead.
No, I will say, I said at the beginning, I like this movie. I do like this movie a lot. It's kind of hard for me to talk about it and not compare it to the Transformer movies I've seen because this movie kind of comes out of it. But that being said, this is what my ideal version of a Transformers movie should be. Maybe not taking place in the 80s. I'm fine with that. But I like that it's smaller. It's a more personal story and all that kind of stuff. I will say that the Michael Bay directed Transformer movies, the action is almost indistinguishable. It's just cacophonous with what's going on here. And this one, you can tell what the action is. It's played better. I like the design of Bumblebee better in this movie, both as the VW and as the Camaro, and the way he looks like when he's not transformed. Like, it's not all a bunch of million different pieces put together. I hate that of the original Transformer movies. Yeah. I'm also like you. I might have had like a Optimus Prime action figure growing up, and I've never seen the animated movie. I've not seen any of the animated TV shows or anything like that. So I'm not a big Transformers fan. But I will push. I mean, I won't say the opposite of everything you said works for me, but I do think the movie really works for me. I like that it's a personal story. I like the needle drops, even though they're a little excessive, but for me, it didn't really drive me that crazy with them and stuff like that. I think Haley Steinfeld does a great job. I do think John Cena he's kind of bland in the movie, but luckily we don't get a whole lot of John Cena in the movie. It's more about her and Bumblebee, and I like that it's like I said, more pared down story. It's more focused on them. I think the way Bumblebee is looks like and rendered, and how he's like almost like Clifford the Big Red Dog a little bit, where he's just kind of like playful and big and doesn't know his own size. I think that works for the movie, and so I like that aspect of it. So
I agree with you. I like the fact that it's smaller scale, and because I also agree with you, Michael Bay's action, I would just get confused as I was watching the Transformers films as to like who was who half the time. I mean, I know who Optimus Prime and Bumblebee are. You can't tell
the Decepticons from
very
Transformers.
Cacophonous. It's very, very cacophonous, and I do agree with that. I forgot. I thought it was cool that they did cast Fred. I think his name was Fred Dreyer as the cop that chases them. That's the guy that played Hunter on the TV show Hunter, and he's also in another '80s movie called Death Before Dishonor, war movie.
So I do think this movie kind of splits hairs a little bit with people that like it and don't like it. But I like this movie. I think Travis Knight does an admirable job. I like Christina Hodgson's script and stuff because I think this is. When the movie I paired this with, I'll go into more reasons maybe why I like this one. Yeah. But which we already know because we already talked about. But that's kind of where I thought. Or I fall in it. Where are the critics on this movie?
90% fresh. So I know I'm definitely not there. And 74% audience score.
Not a bunch of childs of the 80s, I guess, reviewed it.
Yeah, maybe not. Probably not.
So I decided to pair this with the first Transformers movies. I didn't know in rewatching this that this kind of plays as a prequel. I didn't know if that was the exact purpose of this movie to be a prequel or not, but it kind of plays that way. But it kind of also, I feel like, stands alone in that aspect. So I wanted to pair it with another Transformers movie that's, the first and kind of stands alone. And that would be Michael Bay's directorial outing in 2007's Transformers. So that's what I decided to pair that with. Stay tuned a couple days and you'll get more of our feelings on that, hopefully. Anything else you'd like to add? All right. So that was your turn. Let us know what you think about Bumblebee. Are you firmly in Camp Adam? Go Bumblebee. Are you firmly in Camp Andy? Stay off my lawn. Don't play any more 80s music. I hate you.
I feel like Big Mouth Strikes Again applies to me. That's the Smith song that they play, that she wakes up to at the beginning.
She loves Bumblebee because Bumblebee loves the Smiths. And who doesn't love Morrissey?
He doesn't like the Smiths at first. He spits the cassette out, I thought.
No, he spits out the Never Gonna Give You Up cassette. That doesn't come out for another year.
I see.
So anyways, I believe that's correct.
Okay.
Okay. So let us know what your thoughts on the movie are. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment below. If you're watching us, if you're listening to us, shoot us an email, realshame@gmail.com. We answer viewer questions sent to us, realshame@gmail.com. Like, subscribe, share, do all that social media stuff with the episode, because that really does help, and we really do appreciate that. And we'll see you in a couple days when we dig into Transformers for your viewing pleasure. Bye, guys.